Present day. Present time.
Okay, I got the tinfoil hat duct taped to my skull, boys. Red Hat got the sniper on XOrg, and the confirmations just landed. Enter the XLibre fork. Yeah, this is going to start getting spicy. So rebellious, it made half of the desks and clutched their pearls and fake like Victorian ladies. And who's behind this? Not other than the man, the myth, the legend, the Giga Chat that has been making about 63% of these commits. The one and only Enrico Weigelt. I'm horrible with last names. I'm sorry. AKA Me Talks. The dude that got banned by FreeDesktop faster than a speedrun category glitch. Let's just say that out loud for those Linux cultists out there. XOrg wasn't dead, it was murder. And we could see some of that right here. We could see that the commits, there was a lot of commits, and over the years, it just kept dying and dying till to the point there was basically one guy doing most of the work. Yeah, 63% of commits soar all Enrico. Not many devs working on this. That's one man open source militia right there. Okay, now over here in the XLibre server, I like to call it the shadow realm of GitHub for this project at least. This let me explain to you. This ain't no random uncopium forking a dead repo. Nah, fam. This is Enrico going full solo on a death vengeance arc. We're talking about the guy who literally been propping up XOrg while the rest of the devs were basically asleep. Meanwhile, FreeDesktop pulled Thanos and they pretty much just banned him. Like all his merge requests, like he vanished into thin air. So let's go over here into the merge requests. Let me show you. Look at all these closed merges. As you can see, you could keep going. They're all made by the same guy. Yeah. One guy. One freaking guy. That's not dedication. That's like an anime protagonist backstory at this point. They banned him and they didn't really give a solid reason. Let me just show you what was the reason. Let me pull it up because I'm not going through that again after I found the links. But let's go into pictures. So right here in this image, we got this at FreeDesktop. This is what they officially said. The outro has been banned after decisions of FreeDesktop code of conduct committee closing the merge request was not direct action, but indirect consequence of deleting the fork of repository. GitLab closes the merge request when repository is deleted. Okay, that's cute, but what was the exact reason? What was that specific reason that you banned him? Because that's not being talked about. They basically gave us like a corporate silence in a way. That's just like typical corporate response. But they're not really going into why was he banned. Bro got canceled for being productive. How dare he, right? Oh, yeah. Let me just switch over. By banning Enrico, Red Hat basically ran a free ad campaign for XLibre. Not only that, congratulations. You just turned the dev community into a bunch of digital revolucionarios, waving forks like torches, basically. Look, when the only guy doing 90% of the work gets kicked out for no clear reason, not specific one at least, but we'll go after. We'll talk about that a little bit later. It doesn't really matter what the official story is. You just made all the tinfoil hatters go DEFCON #1 when it wasn't even like all those conspiracies that people be talking about. It looks like one of those. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you kind of made it where like you support that conspiracy even more now. Now you can't really put out the fire because yeah. And as I like to quote, let's quote Gen Z, FAFO, fuck around and find out. Free that stuff, FAFO, basically. Now we have a whole new X server in development, a project, and not by no newbie. This is a person who actually knows what they're doing. Okay, now let's go back to the XLibre server, and let's see what could be the possible reason, because obviously the company's not telling us specifically the whole story. So, XLibre server. XLibre is a fork of the XOrg server with a lot of code cleanups and hand functionality. This proof was necessary since toxic elements between the XOrg project modes from the big tech are boycotting any substantial work on XOrg. In order to destroy the project, to eliminate competition in their own products, Classic Era embrace extend extinguish tactics. Right after journalists first began covering the plan for XLibre on June 6th, Red Hat employees started to purge on the XLibre founder's GitLab account, FreeDesktop.org, deleted the Git repo, tickets, merge requests, etc., fired the shots the whole world heard. So they're talking about Lundberg Journal when he covered this. This is an independent production, not all affiliate with big tech at any subsidiary. Sorry, English is not my first language. Or tax evasion tools, nor any political activism groups, state actors, etc. explicitly free of any DEI similar discriminatory policies. Anyone who's treating others nicely is welcome. It doesn't matter what country you're coming from, your political views, your race, your sex, your age, your food menu, whether you wear boots or heels, whether you're furrier, fairy, Conan or McKay, comic character or small fairy creature from Alpha Centauri, or just a boring average person. Anyone who's interested bringing the X server is welcome. So, let me translate this. They yeeted this man and not the good kind. Oh god. Red Hat employees started yeeting the repos and MR tickets on June 6th in 2025. Remember that day? 'Cause that's when the open source matrix just glitched. See, I'm gonna quote that again. We don't care if you're a fairy, space lizard, or an anime character. Just treat others nicely and contribute. Bro, when I heard this, I die. Like they said, furry or fairy and read me. That's low key peak neutrality. And honestly, for someone coming from the LGBT community, I get it. These corporates are really they don't really care about us, or they just put their freaking rainbow logos and NFTs just to get clout and extra donations. Like they don't actually it's all an illusion. They preach inclusion while booting out anyone who dares to think differently. Like last year I saw so many cis men and like straight men got completely banned off the project just for had different political views. Like just banned. Too competent? Ban. Oh hell no, you're getting vaporized. Like what? Why does this matter so much? See, it's not even about being nice anymore. It's about obedience. That's how I'm seeing. And Enrico, he didn't bend the knee, so they canceled him harder than a Netflix adaptation. You know, I'm not even white, and I feel really bad for these guys who gets just witch hunted. And they make it look like it's activism, but it's really not. It's corporations using the whole identity politics and weaponizing it against people. DEI being from DEI went from being fairness to agree with me or else. And this ain't really progress. It feels like I'm living in this clown world, this clown shit show. And if you want more information about this, there's a YouTube channel I'll leave in the description called the Laundric Journal. And if you need evidence of these companies being straight up racist and just banning white guys or people who are straight, you could look into his channel. Over the year, he has been covering all these companies that developed the same practices, and they're just making the community toxic overall. And over the years, I have had conspiracies that these companies were trying to push us out of XOrg because if you use XOrg before, XOrg has been in development for a while. Yes, there's things that are outdated and there's a lot of work to be done, but isn't Linux about having free choice? And I felt like they were just trying to take away some of our freedom to actually choose. And they were purposely like maintaining it till they abandoned it pretty much. And to be honest, I like XOrg, and even like GPUs, like modern GPUs, they made it where they weren't supporting XOrg and it was all Wayland. And don't get me wrong, Wayland is nice, but I don't it's ready enough for most people, but certain things that you want to do in it is not going to work. Like there's still a lot of plugins and things that don't work that work in XOrg that are not compatible with Wayland. Not only that, most games I get way better performance, but because it hasn't been maintained that much, and it's only one guy, it used to not have stutters, but it's showing its age and it's starting to stutter. But before it wasn't even that. Like a year ago, I wasn't having any problems or nothing. But I still like having that choice. Anyway, that's a rabbit hole for today. Drop a like if you still breathing, dislike if you're corporate shill, and comments. Leave me a comment if they make your Linux distro craft or gave you some type of emotional damage. And right here, I being your curse host. Stay spooky, stay weird, and may X great again. Well, not X. X surfer. Anyway, till next time. Bye.